is there more soldiers on the other side of that EMA? Did they go pick up new soldiers? Because, you know, now that it's weak, to kind of give y'all a little background, right? I love trading. I've done trading for a long period of time, and oh, come on, 4:30. Come on. Let's go. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? I apologize. I did not know. I sent him a direct link. Hopefully that works a little bit better for y'all. Didn't know y'all having problems with the link. That said, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. It's the fastest way you're going to know when I am online and sharing nothing but pure and unadulterated knowledge and letting y'all know how to become a more prolific and successful trader. That said, don't forget, I am not a financial advisor or fiduciary, so do your due diligence along the way. That way you can make sound investment strategies and decisions. Let's go ahead and get cracking into some of the nuances here. So the first thing I want to kind of break down is the fact that we are consolidating some of the vicious, right? This is relatively crazy on how the market is responding to some of the stuff that's happening along the way. I've showed y'all what the dollar is doing. They're trying to make certain moves, and it's just going a little bit back and forth, and we'll see how the weekend carries some of these trades. That said, let me say it like this. The market is one of those things that you don't want to go ahead and mess with, right? You want to have it where you have a plan, you have a strategy, and you know what you're looking for. So some of the things that I suggested in the alerts, letting y'all know, hey, look out for this level, look out for this key point and everything else, you have to follow suit. For example, we kind of did something earlier on Reddit, and unfortunately, it was a great trade and great entry. It got to like 90% of my target and everything else. But I got caught up in the middle of a phone call, and I got so tired. I took a nice little nap. Didn't really work out too well for me, but I think some of y'all probably got some solid profits. Nice little close above here. Nice little push there. When I looked at the report, it said it got to like 200% at that peak, and then it kind of dropped off towards that entry. So the plan was there. My stop loss was, my take profit was literally right here. So they just stopped right before I touched that level, and then it just went ahead and dropped. Maybe I should start keeping it around 80 or 90%, but hey, can't cry over spilled money. All right, that's how the game goes. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of like run down a couple of things. So I want to stick with the daily, and I'm going to run through some of these tickers along the way. Of course, Apple is flirting like it's going to go ahead and continue to the downside, and I'm very curious if it's going to go ahead and do that, because that would then allow for the market to kind of like really reset itself. I think Apple is one of the ones that is holding the market up, especially when we kind of consolidated something vicious around here in September, and then also August. July was a little annoying too, because we had Liberation Day and a lot of things took off from Liberation Day, but then everything else kind of went sideways for the most part. So we're looking for something a little bit more on a pullback. Again, that looks like a head and shoulders, probably come down to this level, and then that's that 250 that I've been eyeballing, and we'll see how that kind of goes along the way. Let me keep this going. And we are ending the week. I should see how this week is going too. Yeah, Apple looking at Intel. This week we're officially going to be closing above a very key and important level. I did have Intel get into $50. It kind of went ahead and spiked right through and then come back down. Where does it go from here? If we go over to a monthly chart, you can kind of see that they are trying to make some strides to that upside. If you don't know, that the government is investing into the ticker like Intel to kind of like shore up our national security. That's what they kind of consider it, especially when it comes down to the AI race. So companies like Intel should get some more upside when it's all said and done. We're just gonna have to see how that pans out. Capital One Finance. Um, this one, it looks like when we gapped down, they were trying to find ways to get back up there. I think there might be a leg lower. I really think we may get another push to the downside on Capital One, because of the fact that we closed and kind of filled the fair value gap on this monthly. Um, Maybe if it gives us a nice little rejection point somewhere along the lines, we could short it again. But I think we're at our peaks here. Yeah, it's just like very, very choppy on this monthly. So we probably can find some very, very good, interesting moves to the downside with 2 weeks left in the market. I don't want to cover too much on interactive brokers, not international, interactive brokers. Um, it is breaking out, but I really don't care too much for the option chain. I thought it would have been a little bit better. Race Ferrari, I only have this in for nostalgic reasons. Used to trade this quite a bit when my mentor Keo used to trade this thing, but this was a nice little setup for a breakdown. We got an official close below a key level that I was very interested in. I think we could get raced down to 317. It's a very strong possibility. Actually, let me look at this option contract. It's been a while since I traded. I don't know if the volume dropped off, but it just stood out for me. When you're trading, you're gonna remember your favorites. I remember making money on this during the pandemic, and I didn't even know what I was doing, right? Because they basically was teaching me how to trade and everything else, and it was a lot of fun with the old school cheat code. And race was one of the ones that put me up on the game. Let's see. So I'm thinking maybe the March contracts again. Ooh, that is terrible. Nope. Let's see. Not too bad on open interest for February. February is a lot better than the March ones. Those March ones, they have not visited that yet. So I'm thinking February $300 puts. Not a lot of open interest, but but there's 26 in volume over there. Yeah, I would say look at some February 2026 puts. If this is our close and we just go ahead and take a nice little stab, it might stop at 330. That's a very strong possibility. But if this thing falls into like 317, I think it could print something vicious. And if it does a sweep of liquidity, we could touch 300 or get real close to it and then get a nice little push. So that's what I'm kind of aiming for. So we'll see what happens on that one. Datadog's been pouring it out. Actually, Datadog is probably a little bit more smoother of an entry. I do believe Datadog, and I kind of have this. Let me come to a daily so I can see. I had like a head and shoulders. I have it coming back to $100. Very strong possibility we could get Datadog down to $100, especially with all this sell-off that's happening. NQ and tech is looking very, very stagnant. Don't do anything stupid, which means do not go and get something like a $50 put and then think that that's going to print. Don't do that, right? I would say look for a $100 put. Let's see what that option contract looked like. Yeah, because a lot of people, that theta can really kick your butt if you do something silly. Remember, when we're in the trade, we're idiots. But when we're out of the trades, we're the smartest people in the world because we can plan our money, we can put it in where it belongs, and everything will fall accordingly. Oh yeah, that March 20th 110 puts has 1,000 open interest. And you know what's been switching hands a lot today? There's only 253 open interest on the 105s, but it switched hands 207 times. They're anticipating that this is going to be adjusted accordingly, and that might be that level. Let me see. Are we breaking support? Yeah, that's the problem. So they're probably changing hands because of this order block right here. So that's very bullish. So they're thinking that they can't get in there. Look for a close inside of 118, and then we could play down to this level. So something along the lines of, if I was going to get 118, then I would want something like this. something like 115 psychological, 117 because it's inside the block, and just wait for that consolidation. Because it'll be a March contract, it's going to give you more than enough time for you to be able to adjust accordingly, and it should go ahead and print something relatively vicious to the downside for you. And that would take us into that 108. 96 would be choice, which would then come to this gap, but that will give you a full extension of this very awkward and ugly looking head and shoulders. Does it really pan out? Maybe. Does it really work out? No. But as long as it follows your rules, that's how we take our trades. All right. Let's see. Oh, we're almost to the end of the day. Actually, let's go ahead and have some fun. Let's see if we got some money we can light on fire and see if there's anything out there that will be fun to play. Look at that wedge. This thing is looking like a pennant. Multiple attempts where they try to push it up and they're just not letting it get up there. I was very key. This is my psychological level. Let me put that on there. 25,750 on NQ was going to be tough. It was going to always be tough. We used it as support quite a bit, and you could kind of see we've been playing this dance back and forth, up and down on it. So now that we're below it, I think they really want to get back to that 2,500, which we haven't seen since the 14th when we kind of built that base. And I think a lot of the people that built the base, they already took their profits from here. So let's look for, actually, let's get rid of this idea and let's go ahead and have some fun. Does market dominance have nothing? Nope. Let's do, maybe. That's a long wick here. Don't like that. Let's take a step back up. Nope, don't like that either. Something like this and this is happening and this is happening like that, and we're attempting to break out to that downside. All right, so I got something for y'all. QQQ. As soon as I find my Robinhood, got 55 seconds. So go ahead and look up QQQ because it's going to come in hot. It's going to come in hot. All right, QQQ. We're going to be doing puts. How much time I have? 30 seconds. I forgot Robinhood doesn't let me. That sucks. I would say maybe the 620 puts is like 11 cents. As long as this closes below here, and it looks like we're going to get that. You see how they're buying it up? So this is what you're going to light on fire, basically. Let's see what happens, because I can't do that on Robinhood. I'm not in my thicker. Oh, there it goes. Come on, there she blows. Broke the wedge. Bring it all the way down. Come on. Come on. I got a level at 676 that I'm very curious about. I'm going to see if that can break that. Come on, hold it. Hold it. Watch out for the sweep back. Watch out for that sweep back. So that 1 minute kind of closed below that level, and we're getting a little bit of a bounce here. That's why I said be careful with that. But I'm looking at the fact that we closed under 700, that everybody's going to look to pour into puts on this. But they might wait for 355. That's a possibility. Come on. Those contracts had spiked up to like 14 bucks. And then it went right back to 11 with this pullback here. They're trying to buy the dip. But again, this is money that you're lighting on fire. Are we going to get it? Because I want them to tap here. If they tap here, they'll be testing support, and that's more of a sensible upside. But what they're trying to do is put pressure, saying, no, we're not going to let you get any lower lows, and scare the bears to sell their positions, and then they'll turn into buyers when they close their position, which is going to give that momentum. Yeah, this thing. So it gave us like a quick little 33% for like a smidge. Now you're probably down like 30 to 40% with that regard. Let's see if it actually recovers, or does it play this whole entire dance. We'll get back to it. How much time I have? I have 3 minutes. All right, cool. We'll come back to it and see what happens. Reddit, this one we kind of did this morning. Very solid trade. Wish I got the profits on that, but unfortunately, the Sandman caught me on that. Hey, ooh, what are you doing, AMD? Oh, wait a minute. AMD closed below here and then they closed back above. Oh, that is disrespectful. They kind of kidnapped the bears on this one with a nice little bear trap. Oh, man. I didn't expect us to be up here by the time that happened. Very interesting. I don't want y'all to keep lighting money on fire, but if you like carrying things over the weekend, I might as well do my due diligence and tell you what I see here. Because what this is kind of like an engulfing, even though they swept back here and there's a rejection here. Let me see what the oscillator is doing. Yeah, you got a nice little base here on the weekly. Let's see the daily. Daily is overheated. We had a pin bar, which kind of was supposed to be bearish, and that did not hold. And it looks like we're getting an inside bar, which could be a reversal. So this is really a gamble if you did something like that. So I would say if you were looking at something for next week, January 2023, oh, sorry, January 23rd, 2026, not 2023, right? You'll be looking at calls, maybe like 250 calls. It's $1. Let me see what the open interest is looking like. That's like 7,000 in open interest. I think they're and whoever bought here, they're anticipating that this is going to be somewhat of a push up here. That's what that looks like to me. I'm a little anti that because when you get an inside bar like that, it kind of scares the buyer. For example, we got ourselves a nice little base. The buyer stepped in. Then we had a push up. The buyers kept on stepping in. Retail traders step in. Remember, I kind of did the whole institution steps in. Smart money steps in here. Then the dumb money gets caught here in the liquidity while the smart money and the institutions start to take their profits. So what would have been a up, like basically we made a higher high here, they could not follow through. So that means they're either more selling as people are getting out of their position from here and here, or B, they are building a position that was just no buyers whatsoever and we're going to get an explosion to the top side. Because it closed above a key level that I marked off, which is the 227, I'm anticipating that we could get a push-up, and that push-up would look something like this, but it needs to close above 237. So you can wait till Monday, wait for it to close 237, and then play a 260 or 250 call, because the 250 is $1. Or you can take the gamble with a 2-day theta bleed, because again, you're going to be losing 2 days on it, and play this one. Oh, let's go back over to NQ. Let's see what's happening over there. Yeah, they're being jerks. They are being jerks over there. Look at that. So we closed below here, then they closed it back above here, and right now they're trying to push it right back down, try to recapture this area. Very interested if that's the case. I think by not closing above 750, it's bearish. Hence the reason why I'm almost anti that AMD, but that AMD key level, that level is very important. 227, psychological 225 is very important when it comes down to AMD. Let me just mark it off so you can see what I'm talking about. 225. Let's bring in the daily. I want you to kind of see this, right? 225. Look what type of response you get. That was where they bounced it back up. They try to push up, and they were like, oh my God, we can't get the highs. And then it dumped. And when they finally found a base, which was right here at psychological what? 200, right? That psychological 200, they used it as a base to get back up there, but they realized they don't have enough strength for 225, right? So then it goes right back down and then right back up. Oh, actually, hold on. It got second life on those QQQs. Let me see what happened. Let me see what those option contracts look right now. You didn't make your money back, but at least it got out of being worth $1. Right now it's back to $7. You probably paid $11 on it, depending if you average down. We'll see what happens. All right, back to AMD. And you can kind of see that's the dance, right? They got above the 225, but they gapped it, and that momentum brought it back to 200. I would say the fair value is probably like 212-ish, right in between, which is why I love 50% marks. Those things act like magnets, and they also act like repellents. But you can kind of see this is a dance right here. So that said, by being above 225 plus breaking a key level, which is 227, it makes me very interested on, was this a reload? Because that triple bottom, then it turned into an M pattern and dump, and now we're back up here. Very possible. So if you want to juggle and you can afford losing an entire dollar on AMD, then that's the type of trade I probably would be looking for. But if you want to be conservative and wait for it to break, understand it may gap up to 250 right here, and then you got to wait for it to come back to 237. That could be the real play. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Look at that NQ. That thing is a jerk. Come on now, get down there. They almost got down there too. If you don't know, QQQ kind of ends at 4:15, so you're gonna get an extra 15 minutes trying to play that. And right now it's at $6. Oh, the video just kicked in on my alert system. Let's see what is going on over there at the video. What you got over there? It must have been from a day ago. Okay, cool. So this is what's happening over at NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA on the 15-minute was trying to make a nice little stride to the upside here, right? And this is why stop loss are very important, right? We got this move. Make sure I got Pac. Yep, this is Pac-Man. We got this move, and it broke the stop loss. This is my suggested stop loss, but my alert is basically built on previous structure, and that's exactly what they did. Looks like NVIDIA is pouring it out. Not a good sign. Let me see AMD. If that's happening, not as bad. Not as bad. Yeah, it is going to be high risk, high reward. And you got 40 seconds to make that decision. That AMD does look good. I'm probably going to put that on the board to watch it, but there's a strong possibility that that $1 will be worth zero if this thing gaps down on you. And it's very possible with NVIDIA selling off like that and NQ and QQQ looking weak. All right, that thing's still alive. It got $5 in it. You got some intrinsic value, but this thing will not pour. Or will it? Are you going to pour out now? Are you going to sweep the liquidity? All right, got a little bit of a sweep of liquidity right there. Ah, no follow through. No follow through. Come on. You tease. Well, I like breakouts. That's how I kind of like to trade. This one didn't really pan out the way I thought it would. So if you wanted to cap it, just to kind of recap some of this money and just only lose $8 per contract, not too bad of an idea. But you got 15 more minutes. Look at that. That is just disrespectful. They could have just let this thing extend to the downside. This thing is at the stop loss. Very disrespectful. Look at you. And that's how the market kind of moves. So, all right. I think I covered quite a bit. If y'all have any questions, by all means, the live chat is there. I can read it. I want to say thank you for chiming in with me. This was a very interesting week for the most part. I thought we was going to go ahead and push violently to the upside and then get NQ and NASDAQ and QQQ to get all-time highs. But looks like SPY is going to be the darling for all-time highs. That's just what it's going to be, because they got their all-time highs very close to getting to that 700. And I thought QQQ was going to be able to do the 700 for them when they hit their highs. But it looks like the market's like, no mas. And it's really starting to pull it back down. So in the midst of consolidation where there is no direction, sometimes it's best to just sit on your hands. So if you didn't take any trades and you're waiting for next week, which will be the third, will it be the third? Yeah, next week will be the third week of the month. A lot of volume does shift at the end of the month, and you probably can find some better trades that way, because our goal is to sell it to somebody else. It's a game of hot potato. So don't go ahead and turn into an investor in the midst of trading. All right. That said, look out for the album. Trading Journal is live on your streaming platforms. And don't forget that at the end of the day, we have lots and lots of trades for y'all. I know it sucks that the alert is broken. We're going to get that up and running as soon as possible. So please be patient with us and we will get that back and going. So I got enough information for this year. So go ahead, rewind some of the videos, find some alerts that kind of aligns with you. And yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.